Djinn encounters. Mysterious tales of terror from the Middle East. In the shadowed corners of human understanding, there lies a realm that defies categorization. Across the deserts of the Middle East, stories have been whispered for centuries about beings of smokeless fire. Entities older than mankind, woven into the very fabric of creation. They are the Djinn, enigmatic figures both feared and revered. But who or what are they? Are they mere folklore, conjured to explain the unexplainable, or are they something far more sinister, lurking in the liminal spaces of our reality? Tonight we delve into terrifying real-life encounters with the Djinn. Accounts that challenge our perceptions of angels, demons, aliens, and even the nature of existence itself. These stories will force us to ask, what are the boundaries of reality, and who or what is watching from beyond them? Our first story comes from the Rub al-Khali, the Empty Quarter, a vast expanse of desert spanning several Middle Eastern countries. Known for its haunting beauty and treacherous terrain, it is said to be a domain of the Djinn. In the early 2000s, a group of geologists exploring the area reported a harrowing experience. One night, as they camped under the starlit sky, they heard distant whispers carried by the wind. At first, they dismissed it as a trick of the desert, a phenomenon caused by shifting sands. But as the night deepened, the whispers grew louder and more distinct. They were not in any language the team recognized, yet they carried an undeniable sense of menace. When one of the geologists ventured outside the tent to investigate, he returned moments later, pale and trembling. He claimed to have seen a figure standing on a nearby dune, tall and shadowy, with glowing eyes that pierced the darkness. The figure seemed to dissolve into the air as he approached, leaving behind an acrid smell of sulfur. The team abandoned their expedition the next morning, convinced they had encountered a Djinn. But what was it they truly saw? Could it have been a hallucination, a collective fear manifesting in their minds? Or was it an entity that exists just beyond our perception, slipping into our world when the veil between dimensions grows thin? In a small village near the border of Saudi Arabia, a family's life was turned upside down by an encounter with what they believed to be a Djinn. Their youngest son, Ahmed, began exhibiting strange behaviors, speaking in a guttural voice not his own, displaying knowledge of events he couldn't possibly know, and recoiling violently from holy texts. The family sought the help of a local sheikh who performed a ruqyah, an Islamic exorcism. During the ritual, Ahmed reportedly levitated several feet off the ground, his body contorted in unnatural ways. Witnesses claimed to hear a deep, otherworldly voice emanating from the boy, taunting the sheikh and demanding to be left alone. When questioned, the voice identified itself as a Djinn that had been angered by the family's recent construction of a new well, which it claimed had disturbed its dwelling. The sheikh eventually expelled the entity, but Ahmed was left with fragmented memories and an unshakable fear of the dark. Could this have been a case of possession, as the family believed? Or was it a psychological phenomenon, amplified by cultural beliefs and the power of suggestion? And if it was a Djinn, what does this tell us about their motivations and their relationship with humanity? Are they guardians of the unseen world, or predators feeding on our fear and vulnerability? One of the most chilling aspects of the Djinn phenomenon is its overlap with otherworldly encounters. A man named Samir, a truck driver in Oman, shared a story that blurs the line between folklore and modern UFO accounts. Driving through a desolate stretch of highway late at night, Samir's truck suddenly stalled. the electronics failed, and an oppressive silence enveloped the area. Moments later, a blinding light descended from the sky, and Samir witnessed several humanoid figures emerging from it. They were translucent, their forms shimmering like heat waves. The beings communicated telepathically, warning Samir not to speak of what he had seen. Before they vanished, one of them touched his forehead, leaving him with a searing pain and fragmented visions of fire, ancient cities, and swirling galaxies. When Samir later described his experience to an elder, he was told he had encountered the Djinn, not aliens. But what separates the two? Are Djinn and extraterrestrials different interpretations of the same phenomenon, shaped by cultural lenses? Could the Djinn be interdimensional beings, crossing into our reality in forms that align with our deepest fears and expectations? Not all encounters with the Djinn are hostile. Some involve chilling bargains that offer glimpses into their enigmatic motives. In a rural village in Yemen, a young woman named Layla claimed to have been visited by a Djinn after her father's death. Grieving and desperate, Layla performed a ritual she had heard about from her grandmother, invoking the Djinn to help her communicate with her father's spirit. That night, she was visited by a figure cloaked in shadow, its voice both melodic and menacing. The entity offered to reunite her with her father in exchange for her loyalty. Layla refused, but the Djinn's visits continued. It promised her knowledge, power, and protection, but each offer came with a price: her free will. Terrified, Layla sought refuge in prayer and fasting, eventually driving the entity away. However, she was left with an unsettling question: what would have happened if she had said yes? This story raises profound questions about free will and the nature of temptation. Are the Djinn merely tricksters, exploiting human weakness for their own amusement? Or are they agents of a larger cosmic struggle, testing the boundaries of our morality and resilience? A recurring theme in many Djinn encounters is their connection to human souls. In one account from Iraq, a scholar named Omar experienced what he believed to be an attempted soul theft by a Djinn. Omar had been researching ancient texts about the Djinn and their role in Islamic cosmology when he began experiencing vivid nightmares. In these dreams, a shadowy figure would try to pull him into a swirling void, whispering promises of eternal knowledge and power. Each time, Omar resisted, waking up drenched in sweat and paralyzed with fear. One night, the figure appeared not in his dreams, but in his room. Omar described it as a towering presence, its form flickering between solidity and shadow. It reached out, and Omar felt an intense pressure in his chest, as if his very essence was being torn away. Reciting verses from the Quran, he managed to repel the entity, which dissolved into a cloud of smoke. This encounter leaves us with unsettling implications. Are the Djinn predators of the soul, feeding on the essence of human life? Or are they cosmic scavengers, exploiting those who dare to tread too close to forbidden knowledge? And how does this tie into other accounts of soul-harvesting beings, such as the Archons described in Gnostic texts, or the soul-eating demons of ancient folklore? The stories of the Djinn are as varied as they are terrifying, but they all point to a single, inescapable truth. Our reality is not as solid as we believe. The boundaries between the seen and unseen, the material and the spiritual, are porous and fragile. Whether they are beings of smokeless fire, interdimensional travelers, or reflections of our own fears and desires, the Djinn challenge our understanding of existence itself. As we ponder these encounters, we are left with questions that have no easy answers. Are the Djinn messengers warning us of a greater reality beyond our comprehension? Are they adversaries, testing our resolve and morality? Or are they something entirely beyond our understanding, a reminder that the universe is vast, mysterious, and deeply strange? The next time you find yourself alone in the dark, remember the Djinn are closer than you think, watching, waiting, and perhaps, just perhaps, reaching out from the shadows to remind us that we are not alone in this world. Thanks for watching Mysteria Luna. If you are interested in these topics, like, share, and subscribe.